Search Get Sky Sports and upgrade today. Sky TV required. Offer ends 7th of March. Further terms apply.
Kevin O'Sullivan on Talk Radio.
Three years ago, what they said was an asteroid, a sort of cigar-shaped asteroid called Uma. I'll try to get that right. It's a Hawaiian name. We'll get it right when we do this. Oumuamua. That's it. That rocketed through the solar system. They said it was an asteroid. Now, a eminent professor, a Harvard scientist, much respected, he's not a crank, called Professor Avi Loeb, has said he thinks it was a spaceship. There was some speculation because of its abnormal shape. It's a strange kind of oblong thing. He says it was a spaceship, and he chastises the scientific community for never considering this possibility. He said we've got to open our minds a lot more. The first thing the scientific community does is to try to shoot down such theories. So there's a fascinating debate going on. Were we visited 3 years ago by an alien spaceship? The people said it happened at the time, but everyone said, no, it's just a rock. Well, perhaps not. So we'll be discussing that after the 11 o'clock news. But first, a remarkable story on the front page of the Sunday Mirror today. 750,000 OAPs rebel over TV licence. A staggering 750,000 over 75s have refused to fork out for their TV licence. This follows the BBC ending free TV licences for the over 75s. And basically, many of them have just said, well, we're going to carry on with the free system. They risk heavy fines, £1,000, even jail by refusing to pay for this. But they're digging their heels in and they will not budge. So a hell of a standoff going on between the BBC and our elder community, who are, of course, I would say, very much the traditional viewers of the BBC. Fantastic development for those who say that the BBC licence fee is anachronistic and out of date anyway. But let's talk to a representative of these pensioner rebels. It's an organisation called Silver Voices, a campaign group for the elderly. Dennis Reed. Good morning, Dennis.
Good morning, Kevin.
I think this is an amazing story. You're quoted in the story saying that a hardcore are standing firm and refusing to pay their licence. But 750,000, with the greatest respect, is a bit more than a hardcore. That is a mass revolt, isn't it?
It is a very large hardcore. And we actually think that the BBC is downplaying the figures as well. That's 750,000. We reckon it's nearer to 1 million because they keep massaging the figures downwards. But let's stick with the 750,000. That is a huge number of older people who are refusing to pay the licence fee. And they're doing it on principle because they were not prepared to see what was basically a welfare benefit scrapped by the BBC last August. So 6 months on, and we've got 750,000 people who are not paying. Now, the BBC's got a real problem with this.
Yes, they certainly have. So for 20 years, of course, the over 75s got free TV licences. That system ended only recently. All power to the elbow of the pensioner community. They've dug their heels in and said, well, we're not going to pay your reinstigated licence fee. So a hell of a standoff. And you've got some people quoted in the story, a guy called Keith Abendroth. He's 78. He points out, he says, I'm not going to pay my licence fee, and if they send me to jail, I can watch telly for free. But the BBC will be facing a very tricky predicament with all these pensioner rebels, because it will not want to be seen to be punishing them, putting them into court, sending them to jail. That would be a bad look for the BBC, wouldn't it?
Yeah, I mean, Keith's one of our members. But he's very representative of emails I'm getting all the time from older people saying, look, we're prepared to make a stand on this, even if it means going to jail. Now, obviously, 750,000 people aren't going to stick out and go to jail, but a fair number of them are prepared to push this to the limit because, as I say, on principle, they're not prepared to lose this free license. The free license was brought in largely because the state pension is so low in this country compared to other developed countries. And it is a welfare benefit. It should never have been placed in the hands of a media company to administer. The BBC has made a complete pig's ear of this. We've been warning them for months that this would happen, that there would be a large number of people who are refuseniks, basically. Mm-hmm. And they don't know what to do. So they're sending loads of reminders out, which are being put in the bin by many of our members. And they've then got to decide whether they're going to go the whole hog and start fining people. Now, there's a lot of publicity around this current story, but can you imagine what the story will be like, Kevin, in a few months' time, if there are thousands of pensioners who are being fined and even risking jail? It'll be huge.
Yeah, so this is apparently this rebellion by 750,000, as you say, maybe more pensioners, has already left a £117 million black hole in the BBC's finances. That's the income they're missing out on here. I'm presuming, Dennis, that you're one of the rebels. You're not paying for your licence?
Well, I'm not 75 yet. Luckily. So,
I'm sorry, I should have spotted that. You're far too young looking for that.
But we're fighting obviously for all the over 75s, and there are so many people who are in their 80s and 90s who are taking this strong stand. So it's not just the younger members of the older community; it's the very old members of the community as well that are taking this stance.
Yeah, there's another redoubtable lady in the Sunday Mirror story. She's called Ivy Siegfried, and she points out, I think quite reasonably, millionaires get tax breaks, but we OAPs get sweet damn all.
Exactly. And, all the stresses of the pandemic, it's the worst possible time for poorer pensioners to be given, the £157.50 fine, licence fee, at this time when everybody's struggling to make ends meet. So the BBC has mismanaged it all the way down the line.
So I'm presuming that's, for example, we talked earlier about your colleague Keith Abendroth. They're going to go all the way down the line with this one and just say, right, if you want to send me to prison, do it, because nothing would make the BBC look awful more than sending old people to jail for refusing to pay their TV licence, would it?
Exactly. And I met the Director General of the BBC last October, and I pointed out to him this exact scenario that we're now facing and said, look, talk to us about ways in which we can solve this problem. And we made various suggestions about, for example, widening the number of exemptions, perhaps making the licence fee applicable from the age of 80 rather than 75. So lots of compromise solutions that we suggested. They were all rejected out of hand. Some of those solutions would have cost a lot less than this big black hole they've got in their budget at the moment. And we're still saying to the BBC, we are here, we are happy to talk to you about solutions, but our members are not going to move on this.
Can I talk about the actual schedules that the BBC offers to the licence fee payers? If I may say so, I don't think the BBC goes out of its way to serve the older community. They're obsessed with the youth audience. And in the story in the Sunday Mirror today, one pensioner is quoted, he doesn't want to pay for, I can use this word, I guess, once, crap shows. And why should they be deprived of a free licence fee when people like Gary Lineker earns £1.7 million a year? So I think that the old people of this country are the BBC's audience that it kind of forgot. Do you feel that that's the case?
Yeah, we try not to get into the programming side of things, but I think you've got a very good point there, Kevin, that older people are basically taken advantage of. And they're ignored. So it's just assumed that they will continue viewing, they will continue paying the licence fee. The programmes are not orientated by and large towards older people. When you are on the BBC in terms of a documentary or something like that, quite often it is not older people who are talking about older people's issues. You get young charity workers, etc., on the television talking about what old people want. Whereas we say, older people should be talking for themselves, and the BBC should be actually trying to encourage self-representation by older people. We've made big contributions to society, and we can make a lot more if only we were given the chance to do so.
Well, you've got some superstar support. Christopher Biggins is backing your campaign. Paul O'Grady, Anne Widdicombe. And these are all people who actually, to be fair to them, they make money out of the BBC. The BBC employs them. So they're bravely standing with you. Listen, Dennis, thank you so much for your time on a Sunday morning. And I wish you very well with your campaign. And perhaps you could keep in touch with us and let us know how it goes. I think it's an amazing story. Thank you so much. Dennis Reed, their director of Silver Voices. They're leading a campaign to get free licences back for pensioners, and if they don't, pensioners won't pay, evidently. I'm Kevin O'Sullivan, and this is the home and the zone of free speech. Talk Radio.
Online, on DAB+, and on the Talk Radio app.
I know the pain that this disease causes.